Hey, how's it going, guys? It's your boy, and this video is going to be a word of warning regarding Graham Linehan. So, I guess we all now know that on Twitter, Graham Linehan has been under a lot of pressure. In fact, online and even in real life, he has been under a lot of pressure from the leftist establishment. That's not because he's on our side, more on that later, but because he's the wrong kind of leftist. As we know, leftists love to infight, they love to attack their own, they love to purity spiral. Really, that's more of an extremist thing. Extremists in general like to purity spiral because no one is pure enough, nobody is good enough. Only the most pure can be expected to pass through the eye of the needle, to paraphrase Jesus. But unfortunately for Graham, he is just not pure enough because he has some very sketchy ideas about trans women and trans men. He does not like trans people by the look of it, or at the very least, he does not like some of the ideas about trans people that the mainstream left have. So he is a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist, and therefore he is verboten. He is now a persona non grata for the feminist establishment and normie leftists. He is a transphobe and therefore he needs to be cancelled. And all I can say is, well, you deserved it. Because we warned you. I'm not saying that I want him to be cancelled. I'm just saying he deserves it. Because he is somebody who loves to cancel people. He loves to censor people. He loves to gatekeep comedy. And has no problems doing it when he himself is in the position to do so. So when I see him go on Newsnight, when I see him go on Twitter, when I see him write in the Daily Mail and quote tweet Spike.com, who have written a very scathing article about him detailing his hypocrisies, they're numerous. For example, Candancula gets in trouble over a Nazi pug joke. He's just making fun of the Nazis. Graham Linehan thinks that this is Nazi propaganda. He's trying to worm his way into society to brainwash the youth and normal people into becoming Nazis by making his pug do Nazi salutes. But apparently Bronson, the black pug, doing black power salutes is A-okay. You don't see Linehan complaining about that, interestingly enough. But the Nazi one, oh hell no, we can't be having that. But on Father Ted, in the famous scene where he's trying not to look racist, but he is looking racist, and at one point he does gyrating motions where it looks like he's being racist, and then like a Nazi, he's doing Nazi salutes when he's actually not. He's just complaining about what are they doing there, but he looks like Hitler, and there's a thing on the window that makes him look like he's got a Hitler moustache. Apparently that's fine. That's okay, because it's Graham Linehan doing that, you see. When a leftist does it, it's fine, because they're fighting the Nazis, right? But when Count Dankula does it, just a normal Joe, a normal schmuck online, oh, hell no. Nazi propaganda. And it's also the fact that Dankula holds views that are the complete opposite of Graham Linehan. He is part of the mythical alt-right, or at the very least, the idea of the alt-right that Graham Linehan has, which is completely false. He hasn't got a clue what the alt-right actually is. He doesn't have a clue what the far-right actually is. Like most leftists, they have no idea because, well, they don't talk to them, they just censor them and have their own ideas in their heads. And apparently people like Count Dankula, people like me, people like Sargon, because by the way, Linehan still has me blocked, interestingly enough. We are the problem. We are the Nazis. Even though we fight the Nazis more than he does, we actually talk to them. We have a pretty good idea what they're like. He is now in more trouble. He has nowhere left to go. He has been investigated by the police because trans activists on the left have been reporting him. He has been having a barrage of pressure and messages of personal insults and God knows what else from the left about his views on trans people. And now he has decided that the only place where he will be somewhat accepted, at the very least he will be tolerated, is the anti-SJW, the anti-leftist side. Because he has nowhere else to go. Because we're actually pro-free speech. We're actually willing to hear him speak. And he knows that. That's why he went on Newsnight and spouted what he did. That's why he wrote in the Daily Mail, and this is why he quote tweeted Spiked, saying, half of this is true. And this is also why he apologised to Count Dankula. Never mind the fact that throughout the long tweet thread that he made, he had a lot of ignorant, stupid comments about Kekistan, which is a parody of Nazism and fascism, communism, whatever. That's meant to be parodying that stuff, but apparently that's racist. Again, shows that a comedian doesn't actually understand comedy because Kekistan is satire. That's what it is. And not only that, he bald-faced lied in the actual tweet thread when he claimed to not remember that he went after Count Dankula's legal fundraising. Because remember, Count Dankula, he's not a wealthy man, but he was even worse off then because he was basically made unemployable by the trial that he had, and he now has a criminal record, which makes him even more unemployable because nobody wants the Nazi pug guy in their company. So he couldn't find a way to fund his own legal fees. So he went online and did it, and unfortunately for him, Graham Linehan was there to make sure that he put a spanner in the works to make sure that Dankula could not get his legal fees paid, that he could no longer use the services of his lawyers, so that he would go to jail. And he pretended. He clearly lied when he said he didn't remember that happening. He must remember that happening because he was the one who led the charge against Dankula for years. For years. He attacked Dankula, he attacked Sargon, he attacked all of us for being alt-right fascists. He attacked us incessantly until he was attacked by the very people that he thought were his allies. And now he's come back grovelling. He's come back appealing to us. He's come back looking for our forgiveness. Does it sound familiar? This is what I call the Laci Green effect. Do you remember in VidCon, guys? Some of you will not remember VidCon, but I remember VidCon of 2017, when a lot of the anti-SJWs went over there to Anaheim, and they met a lot of the leftist YouTubers. There was a lot of soul-searching and forgiveness, and God knows what else. And everything seemed like perhaps a dialogue was forming. Except, well, Laci Green never apologised for the lies that she propagated on her channel, the people that she misrepresented. Say what you will about Ian Miles Chong, he apologised for the things that he did whilst he was a leftist, the real horrible things that he did that do deserve an apology. She never did. She never changed. She just pretended to change. Instead, we had the anti-SJWs, the anti-feminists, apologising to people they should not be apologising to because they may have been mean. Well, I'm sorry if I was mean to these people, but I don't apologise because these people are legit scumbags, a lot of them, and they propagate lies willingly in order to further a narrative. As we all know, the rest is history. A lot of those very same anti-feminists and anti-SJWs are now leftists. The movement was split, essentially, if there even was one to begin with. Those SJWs used that to worm their way in and destroy us. They used that to their advantage to make themselves look more likeable as they continue to push their harmful ideology. And this is what Graham Linehan's doing. He is only appealing to us because he realises he can use us to attack his enemies in the left. He's trying to fight the intersectionals because they do not jive with his turf ideology. We don't jive with it either for various reasons, but because we are pro-free speech, because we are more accepting than these people, he is willing to hedge his bets and use us to fight his own battles, essentially. Because he's probably worked this out in his head. He's wondered, you know what, I could stay on the left and be destroyed and cancelled and have my career ruined and be potentially arrested, or I can side with these people on the other side who will accept me, begrudgingly maybe, but they will accept me, because they like to hear other people's opinions. I can use that to my advantage. When he was on Newsnight, I saw people going, yes, go on, Graham, go on, get in. He's saying everything you want to hear. He's appealing to your biases. You will back him. You will think differently about him. You will forget all of the bad things that he's ever done to people that you respect. People that you call friends, that you call heroes. He's doing that so that you become his foot soldier. You fight his battle. Because really what should be happening is he gets expelled from the left and he just becomes an angry ranting old man on his own. That's really what should happen. But unfortunately that's not what might happen. He will be embraced by quote unquote our side. He will basically worm his way in, and when the intersectionals, if this does happen, are defeated, say for example they lose the argument, they lose influence, he will then try and stab us in the back. Because that's how Graham Linehan operates. That's how people like Laci Green, Francesca Ramsey operate. Don't trust Graham Linehan, guys. Don't trust him. He'll say everything that you want him to say, and he will worm his way in, and he will backstab you. And then you will be wondering, why have we been infiltrated by such a horrible person? And why has he brought in all these other horrible people who are now subverting us? Don't trust him. He's not honest. We're better off without him. We don't need him. Let him suffer the consequences of his own actions, and let him mire in it. That's what I say. If these people want to cancel, then they have to be prepared to be cancelled themselves until they actually truly learn that censorship is something that should not happen. So anyway, hope you heed my warnings, guys, and until next time, I'll see you later.